Hey everyone, welcome back to Malik Foster Travels. Today we're diving into a full review of Frontier Airlines 2025. Is it still worth flying with this budget airlines? Or is it not? Right? I'll be covering everything from booking to checking in to seating to customer service and my overall experience. So this is from my perspective and nobody else's. So let's get started. So let's start out with the booking and checking in experience. I'll say that they have a user-friendly app. It doesn't glitch too much. It's pretty smooth with the experience. Even though when you're using the app, they're always trying to upsell you on something of that nature. You can check in 24 hours prior to your departure, so that's pretty cool, pretty smooth, just like the rest of the flights. Let's talk about a little bit about the seating. So the seating and cabin experience, it's pretty basic in my opinion. The seats are a little bit better than Spirit seats, because to me all the flights I've taken, Spirit Airlines probably has the worst seating in terms of the room and stuff like that. And this is just basic, no upgrades. So your basic seat, if you get a basic ticket, no upgrades, no different classes and stuff like that. So I'm just talking about basic seating. So I would say it's not too bad with the basic seating and stuff like that. They also have the option where if you do decide to upgrade, you can get more room and more space. And of course you can upgrade and purchase an emergency aisle seat, but if you don't want to do that, they have different classes you can do as well, of course, for a price and for a fee, which leads me to the next point. Let's talk about fees, right, and pricing. This bare bones airlines type of deal. You pay for everything from the seating to the baggage except a personal item. So you pay for the check bag, you pay for the carry-on, but you get a free personal item. So basically, if you're trying to go for a long period of time, I would say more than 3 to 4 days. If it's 5+ days, you definitely want to consider different airlines or compare the pricing from that point, because generally the pricing with Frontier Airlines is pretty cheap. It's always a good deal until you start saying, oh, I need a carry-on, oh, I need baggage, a check bag. So that's where the issue comes into play. So that's why the pricing can be a little out of whack. But Frontier recently, what was it, last year or 2023? I want to say last year, starting 2024. They offered these wild passes, and these wild passes, once they started offering them, they definitely helped because it removed some of the fees and taxes on the airlines when you're traveling. So if it's a last minute travel, 24 hours within domestic US, you get a good discount off. Or if it's a situation where you want to do international travel, you can travel within 10 days out, which is pretty good. The only thing I would say is it's limited in their international travel destinations. You want to keep mindful of that. And then if you're last minute, it's essentially like an upgraded standby situation. So if people bought, you're sitting here jostling for some of those positions, some of those seats. So that's another issue that can come into play. Next, I want to discuss the in-flight service. So this is a plus in my mind for Frontier Airlines. Like, the crew is pretty friendly in my experience. They don't really offer snacks though. You have to purchase everything. They don't give you really anything for free, so you gotta purchase everything. So it's not complimentary, sorry guys, but that's just Frontier Airlines for you. And that's my experience with that. So let's talk about a little bit of my pros and cons. Let's get into that, and then I'll wrap up with some of my overall thoughts. So some of the pros I would say is definitely the pricing. If you're just trying to get somewhere, you don't have a lot of baggage, Frontier Airlines is definitely a go-to for that. If all you need is a personal item, or maybe even a carry-on in some instances, it is definitely a go-to. Their pricing has gone up just like the rest of the airlines, so it's not how it used to be, but it's definitely a good option. Just like one of my old favorites, Southwest, they went up, so that's another thing. Another pro that I have is the domestic flights. It's definitely good for domestic flights, and then if you add in the Wild Pass, as another pro. I think that's a good look for people if they're able to get it. I would say that probably the annual pass or a seasonal pass is worth it more than just the monthly when I look at everything, paying out monthly for it. And then the staff, they do a pretty good job getting staff together and them trying to be gracious and courteous and offer exemplary customer service, I must say. Let's get a little bit into the cons, right? The cons, the baggage fees. So they have a lot of baggage fees. They even have a place where you can check your bags. Especially in Atlanta airport, where I've recently left out of, they're basically fee hunting, in my opinion. It feels like, anyways. I know they're just checking. It feels like fee hunting and checking your bags and whatnot, but I didn't have an issue with that. But I guess it also depends on your zone and what you get too, what bundle you decide to get if you do want to get a carry-on and a check bag as well. Another kind, no food or drinks. Like, they don't even offer it unless you want to pay and request it. I guess they give you a little bit of water if you're thirsty or dehydrated. I guess they would do that. And another thing, limited on international flights, because with the Wild Pass, if there were more flights that Frontier offered to international destinations, I think it would be a game changer for the airline, even with some of their other cons that people don't like. So that's my thoughts, my pros and cons. And some of my overall thoughts is I would give the airline, out of 5 stars, I give it 3.5 stars. Basically what you get, they offer different pricing. The Wild Pass is definitely a bonus for me. I got one. I suggest other people look into it, see if that fits them, especially if you're going to be traveling more than 3 to 5 times a year. I would definitely suggest doing that. Also, another thing I would say is Frontier isn't close to being perfect of an airline, but they get you where you need to go, and they do offer different options and alternatives compared to more expensive flights. You just have to be smart when you travel with Frontier. I think if you take minimum baggage, or you find a good deal and bundle it, or if you have the Wild Pass, you definitely could really reap the benefits of Frontier as an airline and see the positives outweigh the negatives. It is very far from my favorite airline, but as more of the low budget friendly type of airlines goes, I think it serves its purpose. I think if it improves on the Wild Pass, it will go a long way into getting your bang for your buck in terms of using them, because I don't know if they're gonna not charge you for everything as far as seats, all the baggage and stuff like that, unless you have the credit card. That's another thing. If you have the credit card, I guess you can win that way as far as the baggage goes. That's something to look into. You can get the baggage, but I think if they upgrade the Wild Pass a little bit, improve upon it, which I think they're trying to do, I think this is definitely a good bet. So overall, I think it's a decent airline for what you pay. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I'm not that down on them. I think they're 3 out of 5, about average American standard. So I think I like it. It's not my favorite, but I don't hate or dislike the airlines. It's not the worst one I've been on, I'll say that. So if you enjoyed this review of Frontier Airlines, please make sure you share this with other people who are interested in how Frontier Airlines is, and from my experience and my perspective, and also give me a subscribe. So more videos coming soon. Thank you.